This conference will now be recorded.
A short introduction to the rules that were sent out to everybody, but just for our listening audience, we did invite 12 candidates today to join us, covering 6 races, and each will receive 5 minutes to talk about themselves, their interests and reasons for running for office, what they plan to do once elected, and any additional information that would be important to their race. This is not intended to be a debate today, rather a get to know the candidate session. We will not be asking questions due to the time and the platform, but all candidates have also been asked to refrain from negative remarks regarding their opponent and rather inform the voters and our chamber members what he or she can offer if elected. We chose today to go in simple alphabetical order to keep things easy. And we will start today with U.S. Congress District 11. We'll move on to our 2 Illinois Senate races, then on to our 2 Illinois House races, and then follow up today with the Will County Executive candidates. I will be keeping time in a very simple manner on my phone, so hopefully it will be audible. I will turn my microphone on when we get close to the 5 minutes, and you'll hear the little chime sound going. When you do hit 5 minutes, I would ask you to wrap it up then at 5 minutes and be respectful of everyone's time so we can get on then to the next candidate. So with that said, just again, a reminder to everybody to please remain on mute. Make sure your device is muted throughout the presentations. And again, you do have the ability to toggle your camera view up at top by viewing everyone on the call, just the active cameras or just the person speaking. So I think that covers everything. So we will get started. And our first candidate that we'll hear from today is our current Congressman, Bill Foster.
Oh, am I audible and visible here, Mike? Well,
you are good to go. 100%.
Okay, well, thank you, Kelly and Mike. Good afternoon. I'm Congressman Bill Foster. I'm a scientist and businessman, and it's my honor to represent Joliet as part of the 11th Congressional District of Illinois in the Congress of the United States. And I'd like to thank the Joliet Chamber for inviting me to address you today. I'm asking for your vote to return to Congress because we have so much work left to do, in large part to undo the damage done by the Trump administration to our economy, to our health, to the tradition of truthfulness and civil discourse in our national debates, and to our democracy and the rule of law over the past 3.5 years. As a member of Congress, I serve on the House Select Committee on the coronavirus response as we respond to the devastating pandemic. I am working to ensure that the voice of science and reason is being heard in our response to COVID, and that the trillions of dollars that Congress has allocated to help protect American workers and their families during this pandemic is actually going in the places where Congress intended. And I'm also working to make sure that future progress on vaccines and therapeutics is based on science and facts and not on wishful thinking or political interference. I also understand what will be required to undo the economic damage, the damage to businesses large and small that was done by this pandemic. As a businessman, when I was 19, my brother and I started a company in our basement with $500 from our parents, and that company now manufactures over half of the theater lighting equipment in the United States, provides more than 1,000 jobs, good high-tech manufacturing jobs with good pay and good benefits, and we have kept all those good manufacturing jobs here in the Midwest, which is something I'm very proud of, because I understand the importance of providing good paying jobs for the middle class. And I look forward to working with President Biden as he puts forward realistic plans to provide good jobs for all hardworking Americans. This pandemic has laid bare the inadequacy of healthcare in the United States, and I will work with President Biden as he continues to strengthen and expand the Affordable Care Act as we work towards the goal of universal and affordable medical coverage for everyone. As the only PhD scientist in Congress, I also serve on the Science Committee, grappling with scientific and technological issues such as climate change, cybersecurity, and other issues in an increasingly partisan atmosphere where scientific facts and logic are often ignored. As a member of the Financial Services Committee, I was deeply involved in both the emergency intervention to rescue our economy, to rescue the automobile industry, the housing industry, and to stabilize our financial system. And I'm proud that because of that work, the banking system has not collapsed during this crisis. Finally, my family's background serves as my guidepost on the important social issues of today. My father was a civil rights lawyer who wrote much of the enforcement language behind the Civil Rights Act of 1964. And that's why I've been a strong advocate for criminal justice reform, marriage equality, equal pay for equal work, a woman's right to choose, and a woman's access to birth control, all of which are important issues at stake in this election. And finally, one of my greatest hopes for the coming session of Congress is that Democrats and Republicans in the Senate and the House can once again come together and pass comprehensive immigration reform. So I'm asking for your vote to return to Congress to protect and extend our economic recovery and to make an economy and a society that works for all Americans. Thank you all.
Thank you very much. Thank you. We will now move on to our second candidate for U.S. Congress District 11, and that is Rick Laib. Rick, time is yours.
Thank you. Thank you. It's good to be with you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for hosting this. I'm out today knocking on doors, hanging door hangers, meeting people. I'm just very excited. My name is Rick Laib. I'm running for the 11th Congressional District. I run as a pro-life, pro-Second Amendment, pro-free market candidate. We want to preserve life. We do not selectively want to preserve life. We want to protect life. We don't want to selectively protect it. And we want people to be able to thrive. And that's why I run as a pro-life, pro-Second Amendment, pro-free market candidate. We want to see the government getting involved in all of the kinds of things that we can do to heal the nation that we've seen the last couple of months. And largely we can do that, as we can do any of the years, is by restricting and restraining government. So we want to peel back government and encourage more self-reliance. People are capable of handling these things. People are capable of providing for themselves. And so we want to do that. We can do that by restraining government. So less government, more self-reliance. I'm very proud of my career as a sergeant with the Will County Sheriff's Office. I have 24 years as a police officer, served the United States Army Reserves. I'm very proud. Most of my professional career has been in public service. So that's why I look forward to serving the people of the 11th Congressional District.
Okay, thank you, Rick, and thank you, Congressman Foster. I appreciate both of your remarks, and I hope that you can stick around as long as possible to hear the other candidates. So we will move on next to the race for the Illinois Senate District 43. And again, going by alphabetical order, our first speaker will be Ben Bierly, and then followed by John Connor. So Ben, you're up first. I will reset my timer, and go ahead and unmute yourself, and then the floor will be yours.
Okay, hi everyone. My name is Ben Bierly, Major United States Marine Corps, retired. I'm currently a political science professor at Joliet Junior College and Daly College, which is over by Midway Airport. I spent 20 years in the Marine Corps doing various different tasks. My primary responsibility was supply chain management and logistics. I did a lot of planning and execution, policy making, and enforcement. I also was a battalion executive officer twice for battalions over 1,000 people. I was also what would amount to a deputy mayor, if you will, for a small town known as Camp Hansen in Okinawa, Japan. Of course, the difference being that the towns around me were all in a foreign country. So I gained a lot of experience dealing, with the different government tasks in what would equate to judicial, executive, and legislative experience doing that. One of the things I would say, though, in my time in the Marine Corps was that if I had done what Springfield does with its budget, spend more than I was authorized, for example, I would still be in the brig today. So that's one of the things that being a veteran and one who worked with money and contracts, that I look at that and I scratch my head as to why a government entity would be allowed to do that and go to the point where there are $7.3 billion in unpaid liabilities. That is beyond me why a government would ever be allowed to do that. But partly that's because of who we have down there and the fact that we look at the last 18 months and what Springfield has done down there. This is partly, by the way, this goes into why I'm running. So we see 30 new or increased taxes and fees. We don't see any reduction in spending in our government. And we see now, again, the governor is once again hurting small businesses here in Will County by trying to impose a close down on our small businesses. It seems like Illinois has been targeting small businesses, favoring, if you will, government solutions over private solutions. I think it's time we put a stop to that. We need to have somebody responsible down there. Between my experience in the Marine Corps and all my knowledge from in the political science arena, I want to be able to bring that and represent you and fight for you to keep your small businesses going and allow you to be able to hand off something to your kids or whoever you choose here in the future. But we need to get people who will make those responsible decisions, prioritize the things that we need to, like education and infrastructure, and look to actually balance the budget in a responsible manner with reducing the burden on small businesses and those who live here in Illinois. So that's what you'll see me focus on in my time down there, is working to make this a friendly environment for you and for your family, and to do so in a way that restores responsibility and ethics. No more corruption down there in Springfield. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you for your time today. Okay, moving on, our next candidate for the Illinois 43rd Senate District is current Representative John Connor. John, 5 minutes is all yours.
Thank you very much to the Joliet Chamber for having this function. I'm currently serving in my second term as the 85th District State Representative. The 85th is largely Bolingbrook, Romeoville, Lockport, Woodridge, and Crest Hill. And before joining the legislature, I was a career prosecutor with a specialty in the presentation and acquisition of digital forensic evidence. As the major crimes chief at the Will County State's Attorney's Office, I led the special grand jury that indicted Drew Peterson and was part of the trial team that convicted him in 2012. I joined the legislature because I got tired of the lack of civil discourse and real policy arguments that I felt were going on at the time. So I decided to jump in and get involved. As a state representative, my priorities have included improving how we fund our schools, based, evidence-based reforms for that, because those make up 60% of our property taxes, continuing criminal justice reform, restoring and improving Will County's transportation infrastructure, and improving high-speed internet access for all Illinoisans. I'm on the Governor's Broadband Advisory Council as the House Majority Representative, and I also serve on the Illinois Supreme Court's Character and Fitness Committee for the 3rd Appellate District. I've passed legislation since I've gotten in, including legislation that permitted the Illinois Treasurer to invest with venture capital firms in a way that encourages the startup, retention, and acquisition of technology companies. And last year, I passed a joint resolution on XBRL, the extensible business reporting language, to improve transparency in state financial reporting, which has been followed up on considerably by the Illinois Comptroller's Office. I helped our Will County Legislative coalition to push for the over $1 billion that Will County received in the capital bill. Obviously, the largest project of which will be will basically be putting in a new I-80 bridge to replace the bridge that is currently very dilapidated. I look forward basically in the Illinois Senate to continue to push for a more tech-friendly Illinois moving forward, and for a Will County with both top-notch infrastructure and education. I live in Lockport with my wife Julie and my 3 sons, Colin, Jack, and Charlie, and a golden retriever named Circe, who was named before the Game of Thrones series came out. So thank you very much again, Mike, for having me on, and I look forward to the rest of the discussion.
Thank you. Thanks to both of you again for your time and being on with us today. Okay, so we're moving along quickly, right on the original time. The next race that we will hear from is the 49th Illinois Senate District, and our 2 candidates are with us today. Going first will be Meg Cappell, followed up by Tom McCullough. So Meg, you have the first 5 minutes, so go ahead.
Great. Well, thank you. Thank you for inviting me to the Joliet Chamber Candidates Forum and for giving me an opportunity to introduce myself and share my reasons for running for State Senate of the 49th. As you said, my name is Meg Mclachlan Cappell. I'm a lifelong Will County resident and grew up in Joliet, and more recently I've been living in Shorewood. I've always been involved in my community, especially with local schools. I am a special education teacher, so it always seemed pretty fitting for me to be involved in schools, and which is why it seemed like a good fit for me to run for school board, which I did in 2017, and I've been on the Joliet Township High School School Board since then. It's been a tremendous privilege serving on the high school board. I've worked with some great administrators and some amazing board members, and I do take pride in that the board always tries to have our students and our community in the forefront of our decisions. You definitely, on the board, you definitely learn to listen, evaluate, and make those data-driven decisions. And I think we do a good job of that, and I'm very proud of that. I am also a small business owner. About 1.5 years ago, my husband and I opened up a small business in Shorewood, and we are currently members of the Shorewood Chamber of Commerce. Why I'm running? I'm running because I believe that I bring a variety of knowledge and experiences that can help Senate District 49 and help Illinois in Springfield. As a teacher, advocacy has always been a part of who I am. I would always be an advocate for my students and my families. But I was also a union representative. So I was an advocate for my teachers, working through contractual things and working through, just environment and having to kind of problem solve with our administration. So advocacy has always been a huge part for me. But on the flip side of that, as a board member, I've also had to look at it in terms of governance and how you govern a school district. And I was part of the negotiation team for our teachers. And as much as I really want to pay teachers, a great deal of money because I know they're hard workers, as I work, many of them are my friends and colleagues, you have to look at that in terms of governance and what's best for the district and what's best for fiscal governance and responsibility with our taxpayer dollars. And so I was very proud of what we accomplished when we negotiated our teacher contract. I think it was very fair. And we used interest-based bargaining. And I even think the teachers, they would say it was a fair contract. And again, as a business owner, look, I know the amount of risk that you take when you start up a business. It can be scary and exciting all at the same time, because it's all on you to make it work, right? I understand the trauma that we all endured when businesses were closed during the pandemic. And again, I had to invest some of our own money so that we could pay our employees while we were working through the difficulties of getting our PPP loan. We wanted to pay our employees. It was important. And I understand, the difficulties that we're facing now with, mitigations and our current pandemic and our crisis. How do we keep our customers safe? How do we keep our employees safe? And who's liable for that, right? And so how do we work through this as a small business? So again, I'm running because I believe a vast amount of experience to the table. I believe it's important to continue to fund our schools through evidence-based funding, through job training, making sure that we have college and career-ready programs for our students. That's an investment in our communities. We need to have affordable health care and help our working families, especially those with small business. I think it's important that we find creative solutions to help during this time. And I think the most important thing for that is that includes having small businesses have a voice at the table in the decision-making process. I think that's something that's, I don't know if it's been fully there. So, finally, as I close, I just, one of the greatest assets I think I have is that I'm able to work with most people. I'm able to work across the aisle, both Republicans and Democrats. And I think right now we do need to come together. I mean, our state's in crisis, and we need to form some solutions. Something that I'm very proud of is that the Herald News endorsed me because they said that my issues have always been the same and that I'm not into partisan politics. And I do think that my reputation speaks for itself on that. So again, I think all of these experiences that I've had, being involved in the community, on the school board, a teacher, small business owner, best position me to have a balanced approach for policy for the 49th district. And my timer just went off. So again, thank you for the opportunity. Yeah, so, oh, I want to be quiet. Okay, sorry. Thank you. So anyway, thank you. Thank you again. And if you want to look me up, I have a website, megillinois.com. But I appreciate the time to share my experiences and reasons for running.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you again for joining us today. Okay, we'll move on to our second candidate then for the 49th Senate District. And joining us today is Tom McCullough. Tom, you now have 5 minutes to speak.
How you doing, Mike? I wanted to thank you and Kelly and the Joliet Chamber for having me out today. I wanted to start off by saying I'm running to bring fiscal sense back to Illinois. I wanted to move out last year. Me and my wife were discussing about maybe going to Tennessee or to our second house we have in Florida. And I decided to stay and fight because my business is here, my friends are here, my family's here. I wanted to try to bring some of that change back so we can stay here and other families want to stay here as well. I grew up in the restaurant industry. My parents had a small restaurant chain. I started washing dishes when I was a kid, way below the working age, as most small businesses are with families. I eventually became a shift manager when I was 13. I was a GM by the time I was 18 when I got out of school. I bought my first restaurant when I was 18. I had 3 by the time I was 20. I sold those, became a franchisee for Papa John's. I ended up having 7 stores, sold those out when I was 24. I went into becoming a district manager for another company, and then I grew into a regional management position with a large franchise group. Had about 5,000 employees, $112 million in regional sales. So when it comes to managing P&Ls and gross margin reports and going through a daily issue, I know that issue well, like a lot of our business owners do. I'm fighting hard right now to keep businesses open during the COVID crisis, and I feel that the governor is shutting down businesses without due process. So I want to say that I stand with all my fellow business owners and restaurant owners and let them know that I'm here with you. And I've been working since March to advocate and stand with small businesses to stay open and not watch our life savings go down the drain and out the window while we wait for a grant from the county that may or may not ever come out, while we wait for grants to come out, which people have suggested to apply for a grant, and hopefully you don't see your life savings go down the drain. Say, I've been an executive director for about 4 years now with Canines for Veterans. I've advocated very strongly for our veterans' rights. I continue to do so, even though I'm not in elected office. I've been going out working with different Democrats across the aisle to get bills passed, to get money and funding out for our veterans. And that's really it. I just want to come in and say I stand with our small business owners during our time of crisis right now.
Okay, thank you, Tom. And thanks again, both of you, for joining us today. And that'll wrap up our 2 Senate races. We'll now move on to our 2 Illinois House races. So first up is the 37th District. And our first speaker today will be Michelle Fadeley. Michelle, I hope I pronounced your name correctly. If not, please correct me.
You did a great job.
So Michelle will speak first, and then will be followed by Tim Ozinga. So Michelle, I will turn it over to you for reset my timer here for your 5 minutes. So go ahead and start.
Thank you for this opportunity. And a little bit about myself. I'm a first-time candidate. I'm 37 years old, running for the 37th district, which covers New Lenox, Mokina, Frankfort, and parts of Tinley Park, Orland Park, Homer Glen, Lockport, and Joliet. I've been a community advocate my entire adult life. After working in Springfield to pass bipartisan legislation, including the Equal Rights Amendment, I wanted to bring that experience to make an even greater difference in my community in Illinois. I have a bachelor's in business from Indiana University's Kelley School of Business with a triple concentration in marketing, international business, and distribution management with a minor in Spanish. My husband and I have been homeowners in Joliet for almost a decade and are the proud pet parents to 2 rescue dogs and a cat. We both come from middle-class families. Both my parents work in manufacturing industries, and my father-in-law is a retired lieutenant from the Will County Sheriff's Office. We both work middle-class jobs ourselves, myself in marketing and he as a site supervisor. And I want to really focus on the importance of the middle class during a time like this with COVID. We need to make sure that in times like this, we're supporting our middle class and also small businesses. Will County was able to provide some small business relief in addition to the federal small business aid, but that relief, as we know, is running out. And I know how important quality, well-paying jobs and small business opportunities are to our community's ability to provide for our families and our futures. And related to that, the #1 issue that I hear from people in my district is the affordability and accessibility of healthcare, especially during this pandemic, tied to job losses. Since our healthcare is largely tied to our jobs, this is stunting small business development and growth as well. We know income gains to the middle class over the past 20 to 30 years have not gone to our pockets, but rather to the growing healthcare costs, which is just unsustainable. Bottom line is our healthcare needs to have a shift. We need to find ways to make it more affordable, including prescription drugs, mental health care, disability support services, drug addiction treatment, senior services. We need to make sure that our income gains going forward actually go into the pockets of the middle class and not to healthcare corporations. Another issue that is important to me is our district has grown from a rural community to a bustling suburban area. So we have, as Senator John Connor spoke a little bit about, overcrowded roads, safety, crumbling infrastructure. So we need to continue the work started by legislators like him with the capital bill and make sure that we have local governments alleviating the strain on our roads and improve the quality of our infrastructure for residents. Another thing that's really important to people is ethics reform. We have a crisis in trust and faith in our elected officials right now, and I want to make sure that we pass some of the strongest ethics reform bills in the country here in Illinois. We need to make sure that the Inspector General is entirely independent from the General Assembly, close that revolving loop, that revolving door between politicians and lobbyists, and provide universal lobbyist registration here in Illinois. Finally, I believe strongly in better funding our education, especially when it comes to early learning in our state colleges and universities, as well as vocational training. We need to make sure that we're setting up our communities and middle class, again, for strong family and strong futures. Again, my name is Michelle Fadeley. I'm running for the 37th, and I have actual plans for our community that I want to serve and make sure that we elevate the lives of people in the community, whatever it takes. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle, and thank you for spending time with us today. We'll move on then to our second candidate. for the 37th district, and that is Tim Ozinga. So Tim, I'm going to reset my timer, and you may begin with your 5 minutes now. Thank you.
All right, thanks for having me. Tim Mozinga, I'm running for Illinois State Rep in District 37. First and foremost, I'm a husband and a father of 4 daughters, 4, 6, 8, and 10. I've lived in and around the 37th district for the past 30 years and am a business owner, part of a family business. You may have heard of Ozinga Concrete, and we are best known for our red and white striped concrete mixers. We actually have a facility there in Joliet, and it's been an honor and a pleasure to be part of the community for a long time. Growing up in a family business, we're a 4th generation family business. My great grandpa started it in Illinois back 92 years ago. And growing up in a family business, we learned the ropes the hard way. I started off as a janitor cleaning office buildings before middle school when I was about 12, and have learned the ropes and worked my way up the business. I currently serve as the executive vice president and oversee marketing, sales, and R&D at the organization. I'm also the board secretary and oversee the family and corporate governance as well. So in terms of my role with the 37th district, as a business owner, we've had the opportunity to create many local jobs. We're a union shop, have created about 1,000 local union jobs, in addition to 1,000 office jobs as well, and with good paying jobs with good benefits and great health care. And excuse me. And I just want to bring that opportunity and that experience to the 37th district. So we have, as a family, been very invested in the community. We talk about our purpose all the time, why we come to work every day, and it's to have a positive impact on individuals, their family, and the community. And running for office is just an extension of that. I look forward to the opportunity to going to Springfield to see how I can use my gifts and talents to have a positive impact on every person in our district. What I'll be fighting for is making sure that we're protecting working families from more tax increases. I've walked over 5,000 doors in the district, and I hear it time and time again. People feel like they're under the hammer with all the taxes that are happening, and they can't afford to stay in their own homes, which is a shame. We need more taxpayers in Illinois, not more tax burdens on people that can't afford to leave. So I'll be fighting for that. I'll also be fighting to hold the Illinois government accountable. We need balanced budgets. We cannot spend more than we make. We need to treat government the same way we treat businesses and homeowners. You cannot spend more than you make and survive for very long, and it shouldn't be any different with our government. In addition to that, we just need some fresh leadership. When the person that's been in charge has been there for longer than I've been alive, I think that's part of a problem. So we need ethics reform. We need term limits, especially in the leadership. It's not a good thing to be too friendly in Springfield, and so I'm looking to bring that outsider perspective. And finally, really want to fight for more jobs and economic growth. We need to be incentivizing people and businesses to invest in Illinois. And when the state government is doubling down on bad policies, I can tell you myself as a business owner, it makes you second guess investing money here in the state. And what we need to do is encourage people to be investing money so that we can create more good paying jobs and more opportunity for the people that are here. I've committed to fighting for fair maps. I think that's a very important thing. We live in a representative democracy, and people should have their voice heard. And finally, I've also agreed to term limit myself. I believe, again, that it's not a good thing to be too friendly in Springfield. And so that's another thing I want to fight for. Just in closing, I've had a great relationship with the chamber. I've been endorsed by the Illinois Chamber as well as many of the local papers. And I look forward to the opportunity to serve every person in the district, regardless of their background, so that they can live a better, more prosperous life. All
right. Thank you very much, Tim. And thank you again, Michelle. And we will move right along. Thank you for everybody keeping to their time. We are right on track. And 3:40 brings us to our next race, and that'll be for Illinois House District 97. Our two candidates are Mark Batnick and Harry Benton. And I believe Mark is with us. Mark.
How are you?
How are you today?
I'm good. Ready to go?
I am all ready to go. Are you able, do you want to connect video or just going to go audio version?
Oh, I thought my camera was on actually. Hang on.
No, we just got audio for you.
It says turn on camera. I see myself on the screen preview. I see. Okay. You got me now?
There we go.
Hey, fantastic. Perfect. Sorry about that. You used to Zoom. You got a new platform here. Thanks for having me on. Mark Batnick, current state rep of the 97th District. I've been in office a little over 5 years. I'm going to do a little bit of a different conversation than maybe you hear at most of these things. The three major newspapers all endorsed me, and they had kind of the same theme. But the quote from the Trib was, Batnick is a policy guy that's not into showmanship. And I think what people really want out of government is just boring, good policy. And I want to tell two stories, one of them that comes back from the chamber. So the cost of higher education is just outrageous in the state. We have a lot of people leaving the state because it's cheaper to go to out-of-state universities. And it was an issue that I am still dealing with 5 children. But when I was going to Springfield the first time, my daughter was actually applying to colleges. And I always assumed that we weren't funding higher education enough. It actually turns out that we're funding higher education third in the nation, even though our tuition is one of the highest in the nation. So it just shows how inefficient our government is. And there's big things and there's small things that we need to do to make our government more efficient. And one of the things in talking with some of the administrators from universities, they talked about the burdensome kind of silly regulations. And one of them that piqued my interest was we actually had a mandate to use soybean-based ink in all of our printing. It sounds innocuous enough. The issue is they don't make soybean-based ink for modern digital printing equipment. So what happens is if you're trying to print something digitally, not a newspaper style, but something smaller run or something digitally, you had to go through a multi-day waiver process. You had to use a certain vendor. Some people would upcharge you and just cheat. The point was, we had a mandate to use a product that didn't exist that caused a whole bunch of chaos within the system and was costing us money. So I said, well, this is an easy solution. I'll just write a bill. I'll explain it to the committee. We'll pass it, and we'll all celebrate afterwards. Well, the interesting thing was I wrote the bill. I brought it to the committee, and it got shut down the first time. Springfield doesn't like to move easy. So I had to do a different strategy, especially coming from the minority party. And that strategy was I went around the state to any radio station, any newspaper, anybody that would print an op-ed, listen to me talk. And I just started promoting this idea of an example of the wastefulness that is in Springfield. Well, sure enough, that outside pressure kind of built up, and people said, okay, this doesn't make sense. You're right. I saw it in the newspaper. People are asking us about it. Let's go ahead. And we got the bill passed. Where that leads into the chamber, I was at a chamber meeting about 2.5 years ago, and one of the members brought up a white paper to me. It was about a 50, 60-page white paper that outlined how much money we are wasting in inefficiencies by having 700 pensions for downstate police and fire instead of just having a couple like most states do. And I read the white paper, but I didn't just read the white paper. What I did is I championed the idea. I started talking about it on the radio. I started writing about it. I actually made a 5-6 minute video explaining it, and I championed that idea. And thankfully, the governor picked up on that idea. And last veto session, we consolidated downstate police and fire, which is going to be a saving somewhere in the $300 million range per year once it's all up and running. And we were able to do that without touching benefits at all. In fact, there were actually some benefit sweeteners for the downstate police and fire. So the point is, if you really want good government, you want somebody that actually comes up with good ideas, champions good ideas, and work hard to get things done. We have a lot of bomb throwers down in Springfield and at the national level. And I've proven on all sorts of levels that I'm somebody that's, at home, 12 at night, 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning, reading things, trying to come up with good policy to make our state more efficient, because between corruption, inefficiency, and everything else, too many people are leaving the state. And I'm tired of seeing family and friends leaving the state. So I really appreciate your time, and I appreciate everything the chamber does. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Batnick. We appreciate you joining us today. And I don't see Harry Benton on our list. Harry, are you out there by any chance underneath one of the caller names? Okay. All right, so I don't think Harry is with us, at least not yet. Maybe we'll be able to circle back around to him at the end of our session. I do know that both of our Will County executive candidates are on with us here today. So I'd like to introduce first Nick Ficarello, and then Nick will be followed by Jennifer Bertino-Tarrant. So Nick, if you want to activate your camera and jump on, we will turn it over to you.
Thank you. Can you guys see me? I can't see myself yet.
No, not yet. We can, oh,
Can you hear me?
disappeared on us. We can see a black box.
Okay, I have the camera on.
If you click
Well,
up in the upper,
I could begin. Hopefully it'll turn on here.
yeah, if you in the upper right hand corner, if you're on your computer, there's the person icon, the chat, and then there's the settings wheel. You can check there your webcam to make sure that it's activated.
It was working before. And it's spinning, so it must be trying to turn on. Must not like my vision.
Well, we'll give you a minute or two here. We're running right on time. Everybody's been very responsible with their 5 minutes. So see if we can get you connected.
There we go.
There we go. All right. I will start my timer now, and the floor is yours.
Thank you. First off, I'd like to thank the Chamber for having this event, but I'd also like to thank the Joliet Chamber for the recent research they've done on the coronavirus and the positivity numbers that they've came up with. And I wish that other news media outlets would pick up on the research that the Chamber has done, which affects all of Will County, especially small businesses. Anyway, my name is Nick Ficarello. I am a candidate for the Will County Executive. Will County is one of the few counties in Illinois where the voters get a chance to elect the executive for their county board. You may not be aware that it's an elected position with the ability to veto any board resolution and serves as a tie-breaking vote when necessary, and has oversight of approximately 19 county level divisions and authority over hundreds of jobs, many of which serve at the pleasure of the county executive. The immediate past county executive was a Democrat, Larry Walsh, God bless him, held that control for quite some time. Today, the Democratic Party has a solid majority on the county board, along with control of all other elected offices. I am running for the chief executive position because I believe I can offer a change of leadership that will secure the most efficient and cost-effective government possible, along with restoring a balance in county government. Will County is at a crossroads after the 2018 election cycle, and for the first time since 1970s, all the county offices have been controlled by Democrats, and since gaining control over all the county-wide offices, including the county board, your taxes and your property taxes, your gasoline taxes have all increased. I don't want to see Will County end up under one-party rule, which happens in a county just north of us in Cook County. For decades, Chicago has been run into the ground by one-party rule, and Chicago and Cook County taxes and debt are out of control. It seems like the current Democrats are hell-bent here on doing the same. Even now, as Springfield forces billions of tax dollars in additional Illinois fees and taxes to Illinois families, the Democrats have continued a tax burden by raising our local taxes. If the Democrats maintain their control over our county, there will be no stopping them from raising taxes again next year. As I said before, I'm running to restore balance in county government. I'm also running to provide priorities to the citizens and businesses of Will County, such as priorities for small business, priorities for also manufacturing. This can be done by providing families and businesses a safe community with law-abiding community. Creating jobs within our communities is always a priority for me, and I will strive to make Will County a welcoming government. Most of my career, in fact, 90% of my adult career has been in law enforcement. And throughout my career in law enforcement, I've worked as a law enforcement administrator and also leader. I have been effective and successful in producing positive results as a police chief and administrator and a manager, along with a deputy chief's position. I also had a chief of police position in Braidwood. In Braidwood, we were able to lower the burglary rate by 54% and the theft rate by 37%. Braidwood at one point was considered one of the highest per capita drug overdose death rates in the state. And we were able to reduce that and effectively go from the highest to one of the lowest. I have my passion is currently and has been for a while providing charity to feed the homeless and feed the people who are unable to provide food on their table. I frequently sponsor, along with arrange, what is called pop-up food pantries throughout Will County and also in Cook County. In fact, tomorrow at 10 o'clock, if anybody's interested, the First Pentecostal Assembly National Church in Harvey is having a pop-up food pantry, and anybody who wants to come out, I'll be there passing out food to the public. I think that's my timer.
That is your timer. Yes, yes. If you could wrap up, Nick, and then we'll.
Pardon me?
I said, go ahead. Feel free to wrap up.
Anyway, I'm a lifelong resident of Will County, born and raised in Joliet. Like I said, my passion currently is feeding the homeless and also feeding people who are in need of and can't support themselves, especially during this this crisis. Many people are laid off, and any candidate, Republican, Democrat, whatever, wants to join me tomorrow at the First Pentecostal Church in Harvey, Illinois, is more than welcome to join and help feed people who are in need. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick. Thanks for your time today. And we will move on then to our next candidate for Will County Executive, and that is Senator Jennifer Bertino-Tarrant. Jennifer, I know I saw you join earlier.
Hello, hello. Thank you. Hey, hello. Thank you to the Joliet Chamber for having me. I do want to begin before I go into my candidate speech that, you know, with our recent mitigation, I do know that this is a hard time for our local businesses and family. And I do appreciate the work that the Joliet Chamber has done for its business organizations. You know, I have to say, you know, I don't always agree with the governor, but I am not a health expert. And like all of us, I want to ensure that people in our region are safe. Decisions like these are never easy. I don't want anyone to ever believe that they are. But for my part here, as your state senator, I will continue to support our businesses through the programs that the state is offering. And I ask that anyone who needs help, whether through their business or personal unemployment, to please do not hesitate to reach out to my office. So with that, my name is Jennifer Bertino-Tarrant. I am currently the state senator in the 49th district. I am a Joliet native. I live in Shorewood currently, and I have been in Will County my entire life. I dedicated my career to education and public service. I began as a high school teacher. I later became a school principal. I entered public service in 2006 when I became the regional superintendent of schools. In that role, I am proud of the outreach we did, including professional services for our teachers in opening Lincoln School, an alternative school for at-risk students. In 2012, I was elected to the state Senate, where I continued my advocacy for public education, serving as the chairperson of the Education Committee. I worked on one of the most impactful legislation in our efforts to reform Illinois education system. And in 2017, we overhauled our state school funding system, a bipartisan effort. It ultimately led to greater equity in our school funding statewide and brought millions of dollars to our schools in Will County. And I can't stress enough how important this is, because it's truly one of the biggest ways to help us reduce our local property taxes. When the late Larry Walsh Sr. decided not to run for re-election, I knew it was time for me to come home and continue to work in public service for the county, where I believe is a wonderful place to live. I have served in multiple levels of government, and during that time, I work hard to bring positive change. I've always considered myself middle of the road, which has allowed me to be successful in coming to agreements around issues. Our county needs someone who won't bring a political agenda to the office, but rather someone who will listen and move the county to the next phase of growth and development. As an elected official, I've always had an open door policy and welcome opportunities for discussions and disagreements. During my time in Springfield, I found that you don't always have to get everyone to agree with you, but you do have to communicate your reasons for voting the way you do. It's important as an elected official to make yourself available and open to the people you are serving. Be honest about what you are doing and why you are doing it. And I've often found that the best solutions are ones when you hear varying viewpoints. Some of my key priorities for Will County will be to continue to guide our county through this pandemic. COVID-19 has completely upended our lives. Every level of government, along with our businesses and families, are facing daunting fiscal realities. I will be a responsible fiscal steward and will push smart policies to get our economy growing, ensuring a stable hub during the pandemic. Further, we need to recognize that we are still in a health crisis, and we need a strong voice to be responsible and aggressively work to mitigate the spread, so we can ensure our businesses stay open and continue to serve our community. As Will County Executive, I know my role will be to continue to invest time and resources to our critical infrastructure. We have $40 billion of infrastructure projects coming to Will County. I fought to secure the funding for our area, and I have the Springfield relationships to ensure the money goes where it's intended to go. To complement this, we need to make a regional coordination a priority to address our critical needs and the projects in our area. In addition, I believe our county government needs to get smarter when it comes to technology. COVID has demonstrated our need to have secure, convenient, and working technology from the county building. By focusing on technology needs, we can make county services more accessible and affordable. I also believe government should represent the people it serves. That's why I will ensure our commissions and boards represent our diverse communities so that county government is responsible to the community it serves. I am proud to be endorsed by over 25 organizations, including labor, teacher, firefighters, and the Will County Deputy Sheriffs. I have a long record of working with people from all walks of life, from both sides of the political spectrum, because my goal has always been to make positive impact. I'm a listener, I'm a problem solver. I want to address the needs of our residents with sustainable solutions. I have been a strong voice for Will County families in Springfield, and I want to continue that as your next Will County Executive. So thank you very much, Mike, and the Chamber for having me today.
Thank you, and thanks for joining us and spending your time with us today as well. And I want to, again, say that to all of our candidates that were able to be with us today. I know that you're all very busy running campaigns at the same time running your day-to-day lives. So it truly is quite an undertaking, and I just want to say kudos to all of you for running. And as I said, it does certainly take a lot of time and effort. So I know everybody appreciates that. Just a reminder to everybody that we did record our session today. We will post it on our chamber website. We have a COVID-19 resource page that we've been posting all of our video conferences on. We will also make sure that we post this as soon as possible on our various social media channels, as well as our YouTube page. I just want to ask one more time if by chance Harry Benton has had a chance to join us. Okay, and then most importantly, a reminder to everyone to make sure that you're voting, whichever form and fashion, whether it's by mail or early voting or on Tuesday, November 3rd. And please remember, if you do have employees or working with coworkers, to remind them to exercise their right to vote as well. If you are a business owner, please be flexible, willing to be flexible to give them time throughout the day to go and vote as well. So with that said, once again, thank you very much to all of our candidates, 12 candidates throughout 6 races. There are many more out there. Please make sure you're voting, and please make sure that you share this video with anybody who may be interested or may have missed out to be with us today. Just 2 quick reminders. There is another video conference next Thursday. That's the 29th of October at 11:30. We will be featuring a program with the Joliet City Center Partnership to talk about all the wonderful things going on and coming up in downtown Joliet. You can sign up for that on the Chamber website, jolietchamber.com. And the other reminder is on Saturday, the 5th of December, the Chamber is having a Santa Run, a 5K race through downtown Joliet. So please make sure to sign up for that if that's something that you're interested in, and certainly help us spread the word to fill up the streets of downtown Joliet. So thank you again for all joining us today. Hope you have a good rest of your day Thursday, and enjoy that weekend coming up. Thanks again for joining us, and see you in the future. Take care.